Namaste everyone. Today the topic of discussion is Yogi and Fadnavis possibilities. Today we will be having Apurva Sahasrabuddhe with us and we will be analyzing and in a way discussing already have discussed in our previous episode of Yogi and Fadnavis, whether it is Jugalbandi 3.0. Namaste.
Yes.
So, first brief introduction. Apurva Sahasrabudhe is sub-editor of News Lanka. He's a journalist at the moment. And if you want new updates in Marathi and in Hindi, News Lanka you should definitely check out. I'm a practicing advocate and basically I'm pursuing my LLM also at the same time. And today's topic of discussion, as I've already put out, is about discussing what has already happened. So in the sense that the first episode dealt with and raised a question, or basically I tried to ponder upon the possibility whether Yogi and Fadnavis can become the Jugalbandi 3.0. Now, specifically, as I had mentioned in the earlier episode, today Apurva will be firstly putting his point forward, whether agreeing or disagreeing, at the same time trying to put forward a counter narrative or in a way whatever he wishes to in this particular case. Therefore, we are calling it Yogi and Fadnavis, what are the possibilities? So, first question to Apurva. Do you think that these two leaders can be or has the potential to become future of BJP?
Uh, they both do have future because for two different and very distinct reasons. Fadnavis has future to become BJP leader nationally. He is already Maharashtra BJP leader. But nationally, because A, he has backing from Modi and Amit Shah, and secondly, he has backing from the RSS. Secondly, in case of Yogi, he has, I don't know how much he has delivered on ground, but he has an image that he is as pro-Hindu as Modi, or perhaps even more. So out of RSS, I mean, of course, within RSS cadre, but out of RSS cadre, the larger Hindu parivar gets some sort of relief by seeing him as the UP chief. Or for anyone, for that matter, anyone who wears Bhagwa clothes. As they say. So they both have various reasons to be optimistic about their own future. But should I mean my whole point is firstly I mean it's more like the question of who can take over after Narendra Modi, presuming BJP wins in 2029 perhaps. Then firstly I'm not going to ponder upon that point, but I'll just like to mention, and I don't think Modi has done a very phenomenal job or anything like that. But just to assume that BJP will win and Modi will continue until 2029, and then there will be a question of who should sort of succeed him. Then I think these two would be the front runners. But going individually as Devendra Fadnavis and Yogi Adityanath, they both have different qualities, I would say. So, for example, firstly, as I would criticize both of them that uh, Yogi Adityanath, I mean, his whole notion was, and whole notion about him was that he is delivering on law and order. But as you and I, we both agree that the kind of law and order situation that he is improving with encounters is not really very appealing to larger audience out of UP, Bihar, and the Hindi heartland. So encounter appeal is restricted in UP because of certain situations. I'm not making any value judgment on it right now. I do have many, but I'm not making any right now. So it has restrictive and limited appeal to larger audience as well as its impact on law and order. See, encounters have some impact, but it has a limited impact on law and order. Not as good as you can have, say, for example, and I mean, the same discussion during the time BJP government was there in Maharashtra under Devendra Fadnavis. He was the home minister. law and order situation was far better than it is today. In case in not just law and order situation in that aspect, but also in the aspect of corruption. Corruption in police was rampant before. I'm not saying it was zero, but it was considerably less in his tenure, which is now again very rampant because we have all heard the cases about Paramveer Singh and Sachin Wazir, etc., etc. So that is one aspect of law and order where I think even though Yogi gets a lot of fame and saying, I
Popular
have
support.
dealt with it, popular support, not just popular support, but some criticism from the media, wider media as well. And I believe rightly so. But I think Devendra Fadnavis has actually delivered more than he gets credit for in on that account. Where I think Devendra Fadnavis fails, I would say, is his is not seen to be doing much on the I would say
Ideology.
not ideological per se, but on the religious front. That is,
Right.
he could have actually there is this criticism of calling Devendra Fernandez on social media. It's very French, but it is there. It is there among right-wing communities on social media, on Twitter to be specific. So the reason for that is that the expectation was that he would free temples, but he did not. He actually took money from temples for good governance um, work of any kind. It could be Jalukta Shiva or any other thing, but he took money from the temple. So that is one thing that goes against him. In case of Yogi, because he wears Bhagwas and all, that is one aspect where he is perhaps not comparable to anybody in India right now. Last point is development, or let's call it economy. I think I mean, for me, both have done very poor job, but I think Devendra Fadnavis perhaps did better job. But again, he also had the richest state and most prosperous, most urban state in India, that is Maharashtra. And on the other hand, Yogi had almost second, third, or maybe fourth at worst, least urban and most rural state with maximum population. All the social indicators are almost worse in India.
Right.
So there is that difference. But even then, I would say that since 2017, yeah, 2017 when BJP came to power in UP, since 2017 to 2021 now, you don't really see that much of economic growth, that much of urbanization, and that much of investment coming to UP.
Which should
Because
have
the one thing which should have happened, I mean, it's 4 years now. You can't blame SP government for these 4 years now. So, and fundamental thing any investment requires is law and order. If you can't provide law and order to your own people, that is to say, people who said apparently some derogatory remarks about Muhammad, but he got shot in broad daylight when Yogi is the chief minister. If that is the image, you can't control goons and such elements in your state who are trying to harm your own people, as it was. But then you can't control any industry at all. So with that atmosphere and that environment, you might not get that much of growth and that much of so
right.
this is my understanding of this thing.
Understood. So, second question. Now, that was the great analysis of whatever is happening so far. But the question which follows to that is that we basically saw the governance part of it or politics part of it. Now, I want to ask basically the organizational point of view as to what do you think or who can actually pose competition to these two gentlemen. So, uh, so some names come to my mind being maybe Amit Shah, even Nitin Gadkari, or some other leaders who, instead of these two leaders, might take over BJP. Now, why I'm stressing on this particular thing here is whether BJP will retain power in center or not is a different question. But at the same time,
Right.
what I'm asking, and which is a durable question, is whether they will basically take over of the central leadership. Just as between Vajpayee and Advani, there was a brief period of time when the leadership was actually scattered in a way, some can say democratic, but it was scattered, diffused. And then came 2013 when unequivocally Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, firstly Narendra Modi and then gradually Amit Shah, the duo took over the reins of a very important political party. So in that sense, from the point of view of a political party, also you see you can see JP Nadda being trusted by the central leadership at the moment. And at the same time, Yogi and Fadnavis in their respective states were chosen to lead the party. And these two are very important states, mind you, because not only for electoral support, but for India's overall aspirational politics, these two states are crucial. So, considering this point of view, who do you think can pose challenge to these two leaders?
I don't think. I mean, they are rivals of each other in future. I would say. I don't
Right.
think. I mean, as you mentioned, Nitin Gadkari or Amit Shah, for that matter. If I mean, it's possible that they might take over for a time, but it would be a stopgap arrangement until these two or any of these two get ready to take over. Because it would be like the 2,000 rupees note. After demonetization, everything was gone, so you needed something to fill the gap. So that was 2,000 rupees note. We don't see that anymore. But so that would be Amit Shah or Nitin Gadkari, anybody of that generation, because there is a generational shift which would happen. Like you mentioned, after Atalji and Advani, it was Modi and Shah. I mean, it is Modi and Shah.
Right.
After Modi and Shah generation, there would be this next generation, which would be, I mean, logically, which would be Yogi and Devendra Fadnavis. So I don't think anyone contemporary that we are seeing right now would challenge him. JP Nadda certainly not, because he's from Himachal Pradesh. So 4
Yeah.
Lok Sabha seats. That's not. Yogi and Devendra Fadnavis have better chance because Yogi, first of all, his pan Hindi heartland image, which is
And even I have
around two.
seen, in fact, I
Yeah,
have seen various YouTube channels. For example, there is a YouTube channel called as, I think it is String, the one which is run by that,
yeah.
yeah. So that
Which was
person,
banned or something. The content was
right,
banned.
right, right. So
Yeah,
basically, YouTube and Twitter continues to target him and all of that. So my point
yeah,
is,
yeah.
he is coming from south of India, and even he, whenever he is explaining whatever he wants to, he continues to, look up to Yogi for some reason or the other. So I'm not saying that it is still anecdotal evidence, but points to the fact that because of his Hindutva signaling or Hindutva symbolism, he at least continues to get that support from pan India. Whoever is looking at Hindutva as their possible ideology or has some sympathies, they naturally have one person in their frame of mind. It may not be that they may be attracted or they may be mesmerized by him, but at the same time, he leads that particular area. So pan India, he has at least got, if not popularity, but presence. So there are many people right now in India who have heard of him as against Fadnavis, who is still a urban phenomenon. Not many actually know about him or are really excited about him. So yeah, you may continue. Yes.
Yeah. I agree with all of that, but you see, the trend is that we are urbanizing faster and urbanizing in this
Understood.
direction, not in this direction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by 2029, that is 8 years from now, there will be more people living in urban areas for whom Yogi would be less appealing and Fadnavis would be more appealing.
I agree. I
Fadnavis
agree.
can speak in English. I mean, I don't think that's a factor, but that should be a factor, but that is a factor to a large urban audience. Yogi certainly can't, and that's a fact. So that's one positive side of Devendra Fadnavis.
One
Also,
more thing I would like to,
yeah,
want you to address the fact that BJP's core voters actually come from urban area traditionally,
yeah,
conventionally. Yeah.
yeah. So that also, so traditional voters, it doesn't really matter who is BJP's base, as long as it is Kamal, as they say. The traditional voters will vote for that candidate anyway.
Right. Right.
But if you want to expand, if you want to actually get those fence voters, then you
Right.
want somebody who can be appealing to non-ideologically committed.
Right.
Yogi Adityanath can only get ideologically committed votes. He cannot get any non-ideologically committed vote, which Fadnavis can. You see, even Modi got those non-ideologically committed votes because of A, his caste group, that is OBC, and B, because of which is the larger point, which is development and aspirational kind of stuff. Where he actually said that, I have Gujarat model and I will replicate it all over India, especially which had huge appeal in Hindi heartland, UP and Bihar to a larger extent. So that is something which appeal to fence sitters as it were. That appeal is not with Yogi because he has not really performed in his state on the front of economy, on the front of
Right.
industry. So, you can't appeal people from Gujarat and Maharashtra and Karnataka by fence sitters, that I'm saying, by saying that I have built roads. These guys will say, we have better compared to what you have built in
Obviously.
UP. So, but Devendra Fadnavis can say, I have brought so much industry and so much investment that you guys don't have, which he can say in Hindi heartland.
Even
Because,
even the
yeah,
thrust with which he went ahead of in respect of metro, when all these pseudo environmentalists were trying to obstruct it, from his angle he did everything, legally, in high court, in supreme court. He ensured that that particular thing gets, the judicial support as was required,
absolutely.
and duly he
He
got
showed
so.
more spine than Modi has shown to economic reforms, to that
Absolutely,
metro.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. So that is one aspect. Now, coming to again the electoral and political aspect of it, there are two challenges before both these leaders. Namely, the
Yeah.
first challenge before Yogi, obviously, undoubtedly, is 2022 election. So I want first your opinion on that, and secondly, of course the challenge in a way which poses to Devendra Fadnavis for a simple reason that he is out of power. Although he is trying his best to remain relevant, remain seen, remaining public eye, and do how much ever he can, efficiently as a opposition leader. But being out of power changes things. You cannot really say or claim that, I have done this, this is my model, please select me. So that is one advantage which Devendra Fadnavis has, or a challenge which he has, whereas Yogi has an election coming in. So on that
Right.
aspect, what would you say? Firstly, on Yogi's second term, possible second term, and secondly, can Devendra Fadnavis return to throne?
Uh, he can, but can he return to power before 2024 or not? That is the question. That is
Understood. Right.
before the next election. About 2022, I don't know because first of all, it's not certain that BJP would win a clear majority. Right now it's not certain. It might change. There is almost 10 or 9 to 10 months left for the election, so anything can happen. But even if BJP wins, there is no certainty that Yogi Adityanath will be the next chief minister and he will be re-elected as chief minister. There could be
Interesting. Okay.
any other
Right.
leader.
Change of
Yeah,
leadership.
especially if you see, especially in a state like UP, where caste is so much important that if you have consecutive two terms as a party, you have consecutive two terms, and if you are giving chief ministership to one caste, then you will become that caste party. So, in order to keep the broad Hindu coalition, you need to give opportunity to the people and the leaders from other castes, which is very important. And there are a few leaders who can fill those shoes and have few better jobs. But I'm not so sure, so I won't name names. But that can happen. You perhaps need OBC chief minister next because you
So
had Kalyan Singh. Yeah,
one question. Sorry, because this is related
yeah,
to
yeah, sure, sure.
where you are coming. Both of us have read the interesting book called as How BJP Wins. Okay, and if they have covered a fantastic chapter, very interesting, captive chapter really, about how UP was won. Okay, the entire, I think it was based on UP's 2017 Legislative Assembly
Yes, yes,
election,
yes.
right? So considering that, there was a chapter in which, like a part of chapter, paragraph in which the author has captured the fact that uh, Keshav Prasad Maurya, I think that is his name, right? He
That
was
is right. Yeah,
actually seen by the OBC community of UP as the next thing because they were
yes,
continuously, wherever he was going, in a way. while remaining silent, people were thinking that BJP is signaling him to be the chief ministerial face. So considering this changes things, because if those voters have got disillusioned by now, then that creates or raises questions. So on that
I
basis,
don't think they have disillusion, but they could
right,
be disillusioned. So there are two
right, right,
factors which have stopped them from being disillusioned. First is Narendra Modi, who himself comes from OBC, or so he says.
right,
So
right,
that is one big appealing factor, that even though you have this Kshatriya guy as chief minister, the prime minister is still OBC. So that's a
right.
comforting factor for that. Secondly is, uh, even though Yogi comes from upper caste community, he behaves and acts like he is not.
He is sorry.
He behaves and acts like he is not. So he is
Understood. Right,
appealing to the so-called lower caste as well. So there is
right.
this other guy named some Sharma guy, who is the second
Yeah,
deputy chief
understood. Right,
minister.
right,
I'm
right.
forgetting his
The
name.
second
I'm
deputy.
forgetting his first name. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that guy looks like and behaves like he's from upper caste. So he won't be
right.
appealing to the
Understood.
so-called lower caste. But Yogi does not do that. He
Hmm.
comes from his whole background is from rural area, etc., etc. So
Right,
that
right.
really helps him to restrict that disillusionment and to restrict people. And again, he has that larger Hindu image to say that I'm not from a particular
I think
community. I'm
I also
Hindu
think
leader.
that being a celibate must be helping him, because what happens is,
Yeah,
no matter how you try, but people always tend to doubt your loyalty to the cause, and always they tend to doubt that if you are a celibate, then you would be sacrificial. You will be all ready to die and work for only the state, and you will be absolutely non-corruptible in that sense. So even that may be helping him. So that it will be
perhaps
an
that's
interesting,
possible. Yeah,
right, right. And also the fact that right now BJP has again reinstated Keshav Prasad Maurya as the BJP. That is also kind of dropping a hint that you never know. Even if we may enter the election with UP as the face, because generally the trend of BJP has been that if they go on with one candidate, they generally tend to stick with him. So even with Khattar, they actually went with him despite the kind of shoddy and poor performance which he was portraying. I think it
and
may be
also the
because of,
caste imbalance.
yeah, absolutely. So considering that, it may be in order to give continuity, and also the fact that I see the logic behind it might also be that if you don't trust your previous chief ministerial face to lead the party in the coming election, that actually is in a way admitting that there were some failures on his behalf.
Right.
So
But
if you can,
the
right.
contrary to that is Assam's example, the recent example. Saravanan
Yes,
Sonowal was
but again,
replaced
so
by,
when
yeah,
going into the election, BJP did not
yeah,
give
yeah, of
clear
course.
hints that everyone was, in a
Right.
fixed
So
basis.
I don't mean to say that BJP will replace Yogi before election.
Right, right,
The
right,
election will be fought in his leadership. But I
right.
don't know whether he will be
We will
re-elected
continue.
as the next chief
Right.
minister.
Understood. Right. So that is one. And now I had a one interesting proposition. I was discussing this thing with someone, and one thing which kind of got highlighted was for if you take Atal Bihari Vajpayee as the person originally from Uttar Pradesh, because his family belonged there, and he was a affluent and charismatic speaker in
Actually,
Hindi.
actually, he was from MP Gwalior, but the
No,
same. But
his roots actually went back
roots are
to
from, yeah,
UP.
yeah, yeah,
But of course, he was born and brought up because in those times
yeah,
there were more opportunities in central provinces, so he came
yeah,
here, etc. But Uttar Pradesh and the people of Uttar Pradesh saw him as their own because of his kind of appeal of masses, his command over Hindi language as such. They were mesmerized. They thought him as a leader, and that is also the reason why in those times, which were really difficult times, they actually trusted him with whatever their mandate, little mandate maybe, but they trusted him. So he was seen as a UP guy. That is one thing. That ended in 2004. Since then, Manmohan Singh has been the chief minister for 10 years, and then Narendra
prime
Modi,
minister.
prime minister, and then another for 10 years, Narendra Modi will be here. And also the real de facto leader in UPA's time, being Sonia Gandhi is not really. I don't think so. Anyone from UP would consider her as their own. So considering that there is substantial, so all of us have always learned in politics that UP always controls who rules India. So considering that aspect, now UP has really waited for quite a while before they actually see their one of their own acquiring again the position of prime minister, because before that for a long time they at least had some or the other major stake in government for some time now, because by the time it is 2024 that would be 2 decades of it, and that changes things because naturally their sentiments, if Modi is able to cater to them, great, but at the same time it may not be in 2024 because of the simple fact that at least at this moment, Narendra Modi remains unchallenged. So because of that, he may be able to vote over that entire thing of 24. But when it comes to 2029, that point at least, UP may have reached a stage where they want their guy to be the prime minister, to be the one in that chair. That is my opinion, because the fact of the matter remains that they are used to exercising that kind of power. So would that play in favor of Yogi or any leader from Uttar Pradesh?
I think so that phenomena of our guy from UP. First of all, UP doesn't have this really of a statehood kind of feeling, because UP was never a state before independence. He was always a fractured principalities and kingdoms, which was then collected as
United.
Union province by
Yeah.
United
Province.
province
Yeah.
by
Right.
British. So
Right.
as we have in Maharashtra or say in Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, whatever, but Hindi speaking states, they don't really have that much because there are many Hindi speaking.
Understood. Right. Right.
So our own guy, that is a feeling among some sectors, but that is only among some urban phenomena who actually has connections with power, or the people who have access to power. So they
Right.
might think that since we have access to power, we want our guy to be prime minister. But
Right.
that, as I said, is only an urban phenomena within some
Very
sectors,
limited. Right.
very
Right.
limited, and they even, and I mean, if you see BJP's victory in UP's urban seats is more than safe, more than
Right.
with a huge margin. So I
Right.
think almost all the urban seats BJP won with 3 lakh majority or something like that. So that's not really a matter of worry for BJ. I mean, I'm getting what you're hinting at. For Devendra Fadnavis to win from UP, it is crucial for him to get a rural support from UP, Bihar, and the Hindi heartland, also potentially West Bengal. So for that, he needs to do something until he actually has to get those votes. But
Right.
I would
Right.
say even for Yogi, that factor remains there. That how will he appeal to the larger audience? Because
Urban plus. Right.
Yogi does not really have that much appeal like Modi has across the Hindi heartland. So it will be difficult to replicate this 25 out of 25 in Rajasthan, 28 out of
Hmm.
29 in Madhya Pradesh, that sort of,
Right.
and also you won't get 26 out of 26 in Gujarat after Narendra.
Yeah.
So that would be
Already
an
the
interesting
state
thing.
has been ruled by BJP for a very long time. Last time,
Which one?
uh, Gujarat.
Gujarat. Yeah,
So
yeah,
there
since
is
95.
naturally
Yeah.
a tremendous amount of anti-incumbency. And also one more thing, if I'm not mistaken, what will be the year in which Gujarat goes into legislative assembly
Same
election?
2022,
2022. So even that
but
will
in
be
December.
interesting. Yeah, so that is also interesting because in 22, all of us are really glued to Uttar Pradesh, while at the same time Gujarat goes into election. And last
I don't
time,
think that. Yeah, last time they
yeah,
had a preparation of for over 3 years with this
right,
Patel agitation and all of it. Right now
right.
they have nothing, nothing else.
So at least in the
Just
local
over one
body
year.
elections, it seems that BJP has kind of
BJP is sweeping. Yeah,
precisely. So it might not be that interesting. And also, just out of curiosity, do you think anytime the current chief minister of Gujarat will have any role nationally? Any? I'm not saying a leader of the thing, but any role nationally, or he is just a Modi guy, like appointed
it is
nominee
it is debatable whether he has any role in Gujarat right now. So
to.
I don't know whether he will have any role
Understood.
in
That's correct.
national
Okay.
politics.
And yeah. So now coming to the conclusion of this great discussion, and that is whether they can, because the book, as I have discussed in the previous discussion, the first episode, that this particular book stresses upon what is called as Hindu favicon. Because as you know, many of us know that within walls of Sangha Parivar, what is taught to the members is that whenever Hindus get divided, that is the point then they get defeated. So, in order to ensure that the project of Hindu nationalism remains in power and relevant at the same time, I personally feel that these two leaders, young leaders at the moment, and eventually they will go on, I feel that they will go on to become national leadership. They will have to ensure that come what may, they cannot divide this party. They have to basically stick to that Hindu favicon, and then only party will respond, the cadre will respond to their needs, and they will be able to deliver, retain power, and get whatever they want done in future of Bharat. So considering that, do you think that Jugalbandi happening in years ahead,
I
or
don't
you
think
are
so.
skeptical?
No, no, I'm very skeptical. I mean, in all the so-called Jugalbandi 1.0 and 2.0, they both had working relations of decades.
I
These two
agree.
had none of it.
No, no, yeah,
Zero.
I agree.
I mean, they're working in different worlds altogether in all sense of the term.
Agree, agree.
So, there is no Jugalbandi as such. They can cooperate like, say, perhaps Nitin Gadkari and Narendra Modi are cooperating. But I don't
Understood.
think it would be any deeper or uh,
But then it will
any more
end up
further than
being
that.
just like what we see right now between Narendra Modi and Gadkari, both being good leaders in their own right. One, gets a kind of a cold shoulder despite the fact that he's performing, and the other being leader, he continues to control the party. So there is also a possibility that this Jugalbandi might end up being one assuming the role, assuming the central leadership, while the other still being in party, but his role
Perhaps,
being
right.
limited to a particular ministry.
State.
And I
Or a
agree.
particular state.
Right, right. So I agree to that particular notion that it is possible. So in that case, firstly, as you said, either that the other leader might get restricted to one state. In the alternative, there is another thing that he might get a ministry in central leadership, which
Like
may
Nitin
be his
Gadkari
area
has.
of expertise. So in that case, there are two possibilities. One is Yogi retaining power and Fadnavis getting a limited role. Other is Fadnavis getting the power and Yogi getting the limited. My opinion is that if the first thing happens, Yogi retains power and Fadnavis gets the limited role, then Fadnavis will be in charge of finance ministry. That is my understanding because his not home ministry, I don't see because the prime minister generally wants someone who he absolutely trusts to be the home minister. So considering that, I feel that finance ministry is something Fadnavis is capable of handling. And along with finance ministry, maybe, I don't know, but making him law minister may be limiting his ability. Why I'm saying finance ministry for a simple reason, he had also written a book on budget, Artha Sankalpa or something it was called. So, and that person is studious. So whatever he may put his mind at, he will ensure that he gets his best. At the same time, over the period of time, he is developing his connections with all these industrialists for a simple reason that he was chief minister of Maharashtra. I mean, if you are in Mumbai, you tend to create that kind of ecosystem. However, he is at the same time distant from the Delhi circle. So eventually, he will have to also understand that. That is one possibility wherein Yogi becomes the principal leader of BJP. The other being, if Fadnavis actually becomes and assumes the role of central leadership of BJP, then I strongly feel that Yogi Adityanath will be limited to the state of Uttar Pradesh. Because what happens
Yes,
is,
I
if
agree.
he is in the cabinet, then he becomes larger than life figure. Because what happens is with him, he brings all kinds of controversy. Also, at the same time, he also brings a lot of spotlight on him. Not controversy, but a
Right.
lot of spotlight on him. So it can become the life of a prime minister or whoever is the central leadership a bit difficult. So in these are the two distinct what can I say possible events. So out of these two, what do you think? Like what might happen whatever you may wish to comment on this particular possibilities
No,
going ahead.
I think I agree on both the aspects. I don't think he'll be home minister because I mean he has more potential as a finance minister than as a home minister.
Right.
And as you rightly said, Yogi, if Fadnavis becomes the prime minister, then he would prefer that Yogi remains in the state and remains UP's chief minister. But
Right.
there's one possibility where Rajnath Singh was also offered chief ministership of Uttar Pradesh before Yogi was after 2017 election. He declined
Right.
because he did not want to
To go
be
back to
chief minister while Modi is prime minister, while they are both of the same generation. Because chief minister is anyway far
right.
junior to the prime minister.
Of course,
So
of course. Yeah.
there was that aspect. So I don't think it would be easier to convince Modi to remain in UP because he certainly has popularity and he certainly has charisma as well. So it would be
So in
difficult.
that
It
case,
would be difficult to
in that
see
case,
how current leadership and current RSS leadership manage this
these two.
potential tussle.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that case, if I am going to, kind of anticipate, I would actually say that then in that entire picture, Yogi can actually become home minister. But at the same time, his record in UP of handling law and order may not convince Fadnavis to give him that ministry.
Also, you don't give home ministry to somebody you don't really trust.
Precisely, precisely. So considering that,
So
it's
that's not
a
going to happen.
it's not going to happen. So if the other things, the second
Which is why
possible,
when Atalji was prime minister, Advani, LK Advani was the home minister.
definitely
Now that,
right,
and also the home minister.
right,
While Modi is the prime minister, Amit Shah is the home minister. That's the case.
right.
But again, in that same example, Rajnath Singh was the home minister for 5 years. So who knows?
Yes. You never know. Right. It was interesting. You never know what can happen. And
Yeah.
at the same time, you never know what BJP and the entire RSS and Sangha Parivar might, which leader from them would throw hat in the ring. You never know because what happens with Sangha Parivar and specifically RSS is that they have got a lot of potential candidates who are working in their respective spheres in their own smaller areas. And if they really feel that these two potential leaders are fighting with each other, they will actually think of intervening and bringing absolutely a third guy and trying to control the entire thing. But at the same time, it certainly looks difficult because what happens is now these
Like
two,
we
yeah,
never thought nobody imagined that in 2004 Modi would be the next prime minister of BJP from
absolutely,
BJP.
absolutely.
So that's the case.
Yes. So for that, and there is a lot of amount of time still remaining. For next 7 years, these two leaders are going
18.
to. Right. Sorry, my bad. I'm already in 2022 itself. So considering that, uh, for next 8 years, what happens is these two leaders have to remain continuously working. They have to show that they have the potential. They have to remain efficient. They continuously, as you rightly pointed out, Yogi has to ensure that his appeal reaches urban audience, and Fadnavis has to ensure that his appeal reaches the rural audience. In my opinion, Fadnavis will have to go more ideologically assertive, whereas as far as Yogi is concerned, he will have to work on his governance administration track record. And both these things, from perspective of project of Hindu nationalism, really helps build image of BJP and future BJP in a vastly different and dynamic Bharat of future. So let us just hope that these two leaders understand what actually is residing on their shoulders. They understand the kind of responsibility which is on their shoulders to shape the future and future not only of their party but of the country as a whole. So on that note of optimism, we will conclude today's
And
session.
none of this matters. None of this matters if Modi loses it 2024.
Right. But at the same time, as I said, not only that they may have they may or may not have central government to, work with. At the same time, there will always be tussle that is durable. That is BJP's leadership.
Right.
So whoever
But it will
controls
make
the
their life
party,
much more difficult to have to deal with a non-BJP government in central while remaining chief ministers of the respective state.
absolutely. But
Like
again, that will be
only Modi could do that.
And yeah, that will be a test
in a very
really.
different era.
Yes, and that will be a test for sure because in
Yes,
that
definitely.
is really the test when opposition party is on your head and you deliver. That will definitely at least if taking the worst case scenario into picture, we can safely assume that if actually Congress retains or if the entire hodgepodge of the and opposition really comes back to power in 24 for whatever reasons necessary, these two leaders, young BJP leaders, will have chance to prove work in a very efficient way and a very coordinated way to ensure that they make a return in 20. So that is a very, ifs and buts are there,
Yes,
but certainly both these leaders have lot riding on their shoulders. I just hope that both of
yes,
them realize the importance of it. So thanks a lot, Apurva. It was a very interesting discussion, and we just hope that all of this thing matters going ahead in future, and we don't see any surprises
yes,
where one of the leaders just disappears out of out of mind. So let us hope
yeah.
that that does not happen. And on that note, we will conclude today's session. Thanks a lot. We will see you tomorrow.
Thank you,
And of
thank you.
course, before we conclude, the kind of a hint or trailer of the next episode would be my hypothesis again that whether Naveen Patnaik can be the face of opposition. Now, when I was firstly discussing with Apurva, he was very startled and quite, evidently so. There are many reasons why it is kind of out of the way. But I will try to put forward why I say so. And of course, I will love Apurva to join me and say and give his inputs as to whether Naveen Patnaik can really be the opposition's face in 2020. So the title of the next thing is Naveen Patnaik, Opposition's Only Hope? Question mark. We'll discuss that question mark in the next episode. Thanks a lot and see you
Thank you.
soon. Thank you.